Hey guys, so as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about the shaytards and their kittens. And if you don't know who the shaytards are or know what I'm talking about, basically the deal is shaytards is a YouTube channel, and so there's this guy, Shay Carl, who vlogs with his whole family, and so recently they got this cat and her kittens, and they intended for them to be barn cats, and so that's basically the background of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to talk shit about the shaytards or anything. Like, I love watching their vlogs, but basically what made me ask this question was, so they got this cat and her kittens, right? And basically what they did was they had them in this shed type thing, were, interacting with them. So obviously the cats are tame and domestic and everything. So they're not feral cats, which is pretty much what a barn cat is a feral cat who is raised that way. I'm not sure if the mother is like a barn cat or if they adopted them or what the deal is, but the other day in one of their vlogs they were talking about how one of their kittens got crawled up under the, I think they said in the engine of the car. It crawled up in the car somehow. I'm assuming it was in the engine. And one of them was driving to the airport. And when they got to the airport, the cat crawled out. And so essentially what they did was somebody went back to go get the cat because the other person had to get on the airplane. Which, in the first place, I think is really terrible. Like, you can't leave the cat in the car, obviously, so they didn't want to do that, I'm assuming. But most airports will have some sort of boarding facility, dogs and animals you bring with you, and in case you have, like, a layover or whatever. So they could have easily probably taken the kitten in and been like, hey, can you hold this cat because it crawled up in my car and I have to get on a plane and I can't miss my plane. Basically, they just let the cat stay there. So somebody else went to go get it. Luckily, it was still there when they went to go get it, but just that alone seems kind of irresponsible. But, like, I could understand, like, if they didn't know any better, I could understand that happening, where they just didn't know what to do with the cat, so they were like, okay, well, we're gonna have to leave it. We can't do anything about it. But the other thing was, so in the same vlog, they were talking about how he said the kittens are being picked off one by one, and I was like confused about that. So I was looking in the comments, and apparently in his brother's vlog, they mentioned that there were coyotes. According to the comments, they knew the coyotes were out there before they let the kittens out, and so the kittens, as far as I can tell, don't have any shelter except the cars. So it's not really that surprising that the cats are crawling up inside the cars because they're trying to save themselves from the coyotes. As far as coyotes go, the kittens are like easy meal for a coyote. Coyote's gonna come right after that kitten because it's gonna be like, okay, well, it's a baby, I can eat it easily, and it's a cat. Comments are saying the mom should be protecting the babies, blah blah blah. But the thing is, you don't see cats fighting coyotes. Like, the mom would fight for her kittens, but it would most likely be, like, her death, because coyotes could easily take down a cat. And the cat that they have is, like, she's pretty small, so it'd be way easy for a coyote to attack her. So, honestly, these cats, they don't really seem like barn cats at all, because they don't even have a barn as far as I know. So it's not, they're just like loose to catch mice and things. But you can't do that with a cat because cats, they need some sort of protection, shelter, and aside from that, I don't think these cats are feral. That's not the impression I got, because the kids were like grabbing them, playing with them and everything. Really roughly too, but that's another issue. But yeah, the kids were like all over these kittens, and kittens didn't have a problem. So obviously they're not wild or feral if you can do that with them, and they weren't raised to survive if they were in a shed. You know, well, not really a shed. They're making it into a studio. So that's why the kittens got kicked out, essentially. But, so it makes me ask the question, like, are they killing these cats? I mean, are they sentencing these cats to die? I don't think it's on purpose at all. I think it's just ignorance. But, you know what they say, ignorance is no excuse. And I truly believe that, because if you're gonna get cats and you want them to be barn cats and whatever, you need to get a barn cat, not kittens and a mother who are tame. You need to get a barn cat, keep it feral, don't feed it from the very beginning. It has to be born a barn cat. Some cats can adjust to being a barn cat, but most of the time they can't. So you gotta. A lot of barns have barn cats, and you know, they're just raised that way. That's how they were born and raised, and how they survive, how they feed themselves. But that's obviously not the case with these cats. So I don't know. It's just really unacceptable that they're just letting these cats out when they know there's coyotes out there. And even if they didn't know there was coyotes out there, I mean, you gotta know something is out there, because they're like in the middle of like the mountains. You gotta know that there's like something out there. Even if it's not a coyote, there's something that's gonna be killing those kittens. I mean, I hate to say this, but I honestly think that by winter, all these kittens are gonna be dead. And I'm like really worried that they're just gonna go out and like adopt. I don't know if you can call it like adopt more, because I don't really consider it adopting if you're just gonna let them loose and let them essentially die and not do anything about it. Like me personally, I would never let my cats run loose. I don't approve it at all. But if you're gonna let your cats out, you need to give them some sort of shelter. Like my friend, she lets her cats out, but she's not in the middle of nowhere. There's like probably no wild animals around where she lives. So, and her cats, like, they come in and out of the house as they please. So it's like they got shelter, they got food, they got everything they need. They're not like left to fend for themselves. The thing is, because I'm pretty sure the kids were like really love the kittens. So I'm not sure if they even know that this is going on, which I think they might not if this is happening, that the kittens are being killed off and nobody's doing anything about it. Or maybe they told the kids that there's nothing they can do about it, that they're barn cats. But I don't know. I feel like somebody needs to do something about this, because it's completely unacceptable that these cats are dying because they don't know what they're doing when it comes to cats. Honestly, although I do have the distinct impression they're not the best with animals, because their dogs aren't neutered, which, I mean, they're not around. I don't think they're around female dogs, but that is not the point, because not neutering your dogs can give them testicular cancer and a million different other issues that you won't have if you neuter them. Plus, it's cruel to the dog, because dogs have to, according to Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, your dogs have to breed every 6 months, or they get so much pent-up aggression and energy and everything. But they do take good care of the dogs. I have to admit that. So, in my honest opinion, I think they should stick to dogs, or if they're gonna have cats, have them in the house, have them indoor cats, because they obviously, these kittens are not gonna make it. I mean, they might have 1 or 2 survive just because of, like, if the kitten can run really fast or hide really good, but most of them are going to be dead. Most of them are probably going to die before the winter, like, and especially if they don't have any shelter up there, because it's going to get cold out there. They live in Idaho or Utah. I always confuse those 2 states. I don't know why. But yeah, it's going to get freaking cold out there, and the kittens are going to, like, they're not going to have any food because the mice and stuff are going to be underground. And they're going to freeze to death. And they're going to starve to death. And they're not. It's just. And I wish I could call like an animal rights group about this. But I don't think there's anything they can do. Because I don't think it technically qualifies as animal cruelty. I mean, I look at it as neglect and abuse, but I don't think technically there's anything they can do about it, because then everybody would freak out and be like, oh, well, I have barn cats, you know, they're fine, you know, are you gonna take my cats away too and say that I neglect them? But although doing what the shaytards are doing to these kittens is completely different, as I've explained. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously they are not fine. Obviously this is not an acceptable way to treat these kittens if they're dying and getting loose and running off to the airport and stuff. And these cats are seriously, I don't even know what's going to happen to them, because they're either going to get eaten by coyotes, starve to death, or freeze to death. There's no getting around that. I mean, I don't think they even have a shelter anymore. I think they're just loose. So I hope this video will accomplish something, but I'm not sure what, because I mean, it's not like the shaytards will ever see this, or anybody who can actually do something will ever see this, probably, but I really hope that something will come of this, because I just cannot stand to see animals suffering, especially for human ignorance.